Hello everyone, and welcome to our hashtag Female Boss mini YouTube series. Today we have the lovely Dr Ishani Malhotra, who is the founder and CEO of CarcinoTech. Ishani is an amazing female boss and entrepreneur who has been incredibly successful and has also been awarded Female Entrepreneur of the Year at the Scottish SME Business Awards 2022. So hello Ishani.
Hi, nice to meet you.
You too, welcome. So why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and even how you set up your business?
Sure. I come from a cancer diagnostic and clinical trials background. And I set up the company about 4 years ago, but it came out of my research at the University of Edinburgh, where I was I was doing my research in regenerative medicine, my master's in regenerative medicine, and then doing my research in cancer stem cells in particular. But from my previous experience in cancer diagnostics and working in clinical trials, I saw firsthand that it takes about 10 to 15 years for a drug to get to market. And usually by that time, any innovative treatments or anything like that would not be available to patients because the lifetime of someone with cancer is quite less. So this is something that I really wanted to kind of make an impact on it and change. And that's what led me to start CarcinoTech. And what we're doing is we're essentially 3D printing tumors using patient biopsies and immune cells so that we can provide a platform for rapid, ethical, and accurate drug testing and use them for personalized medicine testing in the future.
That's amazing, and it's a long time for new drugs to come through then. So this is like an amazing thing that you're doing to help all those people that need something in the meantime. So what struggles would you say that you faced with your business, like setting it up and the process of running it, and how did you overcome them struggles?
So I guess initially when I set up the company, of course, the biggest issue was, trying to get funding to be able to do proof of concept as well as get validation data for because we are so scientific and med tech and data heavy. We needed to get better data in order to be able to prove the technology. So getting that funding at the initial funding was definitely a challenge. And it was something that, we had great support from Edinburgh Innovations, from Scottish Enterprise, and we got some R&D and innovation grant funding, in the first couple of years. Then we raised our investment round, which allowed us to get a little bit further on in our validation. And then once we got to a point where we were ready to commercialize, we raised our seed investment, which was completed in the beginning of this year, and that was when we got a good boost in our capital. We expanded our team, and we're now looking to commercialize this technology with pharma companies and CROs as partners.
That's amazing. So there was a lot of investment that you've had to look in to obviously get the business running. How did you find the process with, trying to get the funding for your business?
Yes. So in getting funding for whether it's either through grant funding or investment is definitely takes a very long time. It's all about trying to convey that value that you're creating with your business. And I think finding, we found investors that understood that value, not just in the business right now, but also in the future and what we can create as we grow together. And I think that was something that was really important for us, is to find those supportive, right investors. And we're very lucky to have found amazing investors that have invested in us, that have supported us throughout the journey and understand the value of what we can bring, in cancer research. And it was the same way for grant funding as well, as to be able to convey that value to people, because what I think was a big challenge for me as well was because I come from a scientific background. I was having to a lot of times make people understand what exactly we're doing without having to use very big scientific words that people wouldn't be familiar with. And I think that was something that was a bit of a challenge for me to overcome. But I think that definitely helped. As I set up the business and I had advice and support from various advisors, it got me to a point where we were able to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fab. So obviously the work that you do is incredible. So what was the turning point from setting up your business to where you are now, where you were able to see the difference and the impact that your business was making?
So I think because I come from an industrial background. So I don't have an academic background, which means that I've always seen almost a real world impact of research, to a point where, when I set up CarcinoTech, the biggest thing that I wanted to do was make sure that this was not just another lab research, and it went out in the real world to be able to actually get it into people's hands, and in terms of like working with farmers and CROs and surgeons and hospitals, and making sure that they were able to use this technology for the good of the patients. And that's what I think is was really important. So the turning point, I would say, would be probably the time when we started to see that we were actually solving a major problem in the industry. And when you find that right product fit, I think that was very important for us. And we found that, and we realized that yes, there is stuff out there that people have been used to for ages, but they want something new which could accelerate the drug testing process, which could give more accurate results, and ultimately then help save patients' lives. So I think because we found that right market, or rather need in the industry, that was quite a good turning point for us. Yeah.
That's amazing, and it is such an incredible thing that you are doing.
Thank you.
So from your experience, before setting up your business and then your whole enterprising journey, what hints or tips could you offer our students that are maybe looking to start their own business?
So I would definitely say that being resilient is very important, because everyone has failures, and your idea will be fantastic, but having that almost that resilience, and almost a mindset to say you're not always going to succeed on your first try. And that means that you might apply for grant funding, you might not get it, but that don't let that dishearten you. Don't say, okay, I'm just going to give up on this, because that's not the right attitude to have, especially when you're starting your own business. And there will be failures, but always just embrace them, get feedback as much as possible, and learn how to take feedback well, in a manner that you could then use that to improve yourself, because everyone is learning all the time. So just don't think that you know everything from beforehand, because sometimes that does happen. People assume that they don't want to get feedback, but feedback is very important. So always take that into consideration, learn from your failures, and then definitely you'll be able to see an impact that you can create from your ideas.
Yeah, definitely that constructive feedback is always, you might not want to hear it, but it
Mm.
does help your idea and your business in the long run. I know that was something I
Exactly.
had to learn when I was setting up mine. It's like, right,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
how are we going to do
yeah.
it?
Exactly. Yeah, 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 exactly. So, you might think you have, the right idea to actually set it up, and you have a vision, which is fantastic, but, always get advice from people that have done it before, or, even give you a little bit of advice. Okay, maybe change this bit or change that bit, and maybe this will be better. And that's always, always good to improve your product, to improve your services, as well as then, it will create a better impact, and you will be successful. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is
Mhm.
amazing. And that's all my questions today. So I just want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk with you. And thank you for sharing your journey and those top tips. I'm sure the students find them very inspiring and empowering as well. And they'll take a lot from the discussion. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.